we are joined here. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name. Oh, sorry. No. A very good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Priyajit Debsarkar. I'm the editor of Bridge Bangla Foundation, London. Today is the 13th of December, and we are joined by a very distinguished panel to discuss not only the victory day of Bangladesh, 16 December 1971, but what is its relevance today. And as we have coined the term Bangladesh on the brink, so is it really that Bangladesh is on the brink? Before I introduce our distinguished panel, I've got a little 5 minutes quick presentation to set context to today's webinar. So we are going to start that, and then I'm going to open up the floor for discussions. So I'm just going to see if I could present the webinar. Just give me 1 minute. Slides. Okay. Is the slides visible? Can I just check with my colleagues? Can you see any slideshow come up? No? Okay, sorry. Okay, I think has something come up now? Could anybody confirm? Can we see the slides? So Bangladesh on the brink, Victory Day,
Yes.
1971.
Yep, same. Yep.
You can see the slides, right?
Yes.
Thank you. So I'm going to continue. Okay. So what is basically 1971 Bangladesh Liberation War? It is also known as the Bangladesh War of Independence. And it was the armed struggle and revolution triggered by the rise of Bengali nationalism, self-determination movement in East Pakistan, of the injustices committed by the West Pakistanis. The war also coincided with the 1971 Bangladesh genocide and resulted in the independence of Bangladesh. Now, I've got two pictures here as well. One of a very popular book of that time, and the second is Trafalgar Square, London, where there was a very huge rally in support of the Bengali nationalism rise in 1971. So what are the root causes? So in 1947, the subcontinent was divided. Then in 1952, we had the Bengali language movement. Then in 1966, the 6-point agenda, then Cyclone Bola in 1970, followed by the election, and then the concert for Bangladesh. Now, there is also critical landmarks during this period. So Operation Searchlight was the beginning of the crackdown of the West Pakistani army on innocent students initially, and then it spread to civilians. Then the Mukti Bahini, which was the resistance forces. There was a 9-month-long war, a severe refugee crisis leading up to the surrender by West Pakistan. There are key political questions which arose that time, like who was the leader of East Pakistan, Sheikh Mujibur Rahman, what was his identity, what are they fighting for? He was imprisoned during this period by the West Pakistanis. So, of course, where is he now? Why there is so much blood? Is there any solution to the crisis? And what has the global community done to come together? So this is very important because we are now joined by a multi-national panel. So we would definitely question the panelists about what has the global community done so far or in the future. And then the toll was around 2,000 people perished. And there was like the worst cyclone, which is the Bola, which is also a very critical trigger for the War of Independence and the elections. There is a very concise fact sheet. I'm not going to go through all the points. There's quite a lot. We are going to share the slide deck later on, but it is the key ones are estimated as 30,000 Bengalis from East Pakistan were killed during this 9-month war. During Operation Searchlight, almost 50,000 were killed in the capital city, Dhaka alone. between 200 to 400,000 Bengali women were raped, violated by the West Pakistani army and the collaborators. It is also estimated that 30,000 women committed suicide following humiliation of rape in the hands of the military. Christian missionaries, which were outside of Bangladesh, adopted almost 5,000 more babies. So that included Europe, Northern America, and 30 to 40 million citizens of East Pakistan were internally displaced. So they became refugees as a result of the conflict. And there are many examples, but we have gone with the benchmark or the gold standard in journalism. So University of Cambridge, they have a book, Raped Woman, Sexual Violence During the Bangladesh War. We have newspapers like The Guardian who have reported that women who lay like corpses during the 9-month-old war to escape the barbaric, atrocities which were committed. And then we have these very famous books. One of them is very close, and I refer all the to it all the time. The Blood Telegram. It was by Gary J. Bass, who was an American diplomat stationed in Dhaka during the launch of Operation Searchlight, and he's probably the eyewitness of that entire episode. And then we also have the article by Anthony Maxenus, The Genocide, and that article had changed history, which came up in the Sunday Times, which actually enlightened the Western world of the horrific barbaric acts which were being committed in East Pakistan. Until then, the Western world were oblivious, or rather insulated from what was the situation. So it is estimated as much as 80 to 100,000 regular troops and other members who surrendered on 16 December, and that's one of the highest number of surrender post the Second World War. And there is estimated 942 killing fields were found with skeleton remains and human skeletons, bones numbering up to 1,000 to 10,000 found in each of them. And what is the situation in present day? Because we have moved on from 71. So again, I've gone with a very credible journal who and its contributor, Istikar Bashul, who has come up with a very key observation of the present situation in 2025. And he says that Bangladesh has witnessed a rise in religious extremism worsened by ongoing political instability. There's also growing concern that Bangladesh youth are being radicalized, including online transnational extremist group, which are prescribed by the United Nations. For example, the Tehrik-e-Taliban Pakistan, Hizb ut-Tahrir, and experts warn that without strong surveillance and uncontrolled rise of extremism, this could, overspell and put in danger not only Bangladesh but the neighborhood and Southeast Asia as a whole. And not only that journal, we have got very credible reports from Bloomberg, from the Oxford Human Rights Group, BBC, and I've just come up with the headlines here. Of course, these are available in open source, so you can refer to it if you wish to. And coming to the minority situation, again, credible newspapers and institutions like BBC, Daily Field, and Al Jazeera, they have categorically come up with reports, as in 2025, what are the threats to the minorities. And when I say minorities, it includes Hindus, Ahmadis, Buddhists, Christians, LGBT, people who affiliated with the Bangladesh Liberation War, things like that. So all of these people are under tremendous risk and pressure and are daily subjected to atrocities. The last slide would be the suppression of, again, press freedom, which is a fundamental feature for any democracy. Voice of America, the Committee for Protection of Journalists, Never Again Association Poland, who has come up with freedom of Sharia Kabir, the Telegraph Online, where a daughter of a journalist, Shamal Dotto, has appealed to the greater world for the release of journalists. We've got a little graph here, which again demonstrates during Professor Dr. Muhammad Yunus Nobel Laureate's regime as the interim head of Bangladesh, there has been a phenomenal, significant rise in the attack on journalists, and suppression of press freedom. So thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, for watching this. And I will now open up the floor for discussion. And I would like to invite our first. I would like to first of all apologize on behalf of Christopher Blackburn because he could not attend today's webinar. He had to go to an for an urgent appointment. And we do, by the way, have two very eminent speakers here. We've got Paolo Kasaka, who's joining us from Brussels in Europe. He's the director of SADAF, which is the South Asian Development Forum, and he has worked very closely on very closely on Bangladesh, and he watches the situation. He's made numerous submissions, not only to the European Parliament, but to the United Nations Geneva as well. And we have got Robert Bob Lance, who is joining us from Washington. Thank you very much, Bob, who has been a United States Navy chaplain, ex lawmaker, and an academic. So I would like to invite Paolo first. Paolo, if you want to begin the discussion today and give your remarks and thoughts of what you see in Bangladesh today, please.
Well, thank you very much for the invitation. It is really a pleasure to be here. We are almost on the Victory Day. It's December 16. We are 3 days before. And my main concern and my main message is that this day is obviously of tremendous importance for modern day Bangladesh, but it has as well a global meaning for a variety of reasons. One of them is that Bangladesh is actually one of the most important countries in the world. The second is that it was the conflict had to do with this, as you already mentioned, Priyavid, the partition, this idea of having religion more important than anything else as a reason for making states, for dividing states, for making the division of the world, which is really a very extraordinary thing, an idea that did not die and has a very important global repercussion. And this was the first time that a really big nation with tremendous important roots in history, because Bengal, the whole Bengal, is one of the most ancient civilizations in history, comparable to the Egyptian or to the Mesopotamian in ecological conditions that are actually very similar on a variety of points of view. And therefore, we had for the first time in the name of this nationalist ideology a genocide. And a genocide that was committed, as was said before, by the occupying Pakistani forces, but had the full cooperation of Jamaat-e-Islam, an organization, an Islamist organization that, as I've been, making the case time and time again, is not less important than the Muslim Brotherhood. It's the parallel. It's absolutely alike in terms of ideology. Actually, it is. It appeared before. I mean, not as Jamaat, but it appeared before in terms of doctrine. It was Maulana Maududi that created, with his pamphlet, later transformed into a book, Jihad, that made, this reading of the supremacist, this supremacist ideology, and this organization is still there nowadays, and therefore this is a phenomenon or a date that is comparable to the Victory Day that we know in Europe of the 8th of May, 8th, 9th of May. The Russians considered the next day, never mind. That's not very important. What is important is these are parallel dates. Of course, that the outcomes and the developments were not the same. Well, for a variety of reasons, but I would say that what would have happened in Europe if the United States would not have been there on a positive side to stabilize and to help Europe? Most likely, it would have not been very different from what happened in Bangladesh. A lot of confusion, instability, wars, coups, and so forth. That unfortunately we assisted in Bangladesh. The short, the Victory Day was very short. I mean, 3 days after we had the massacre of the founder of the nation, Mujibur Rahman, with the whole of his family. I mean, those who escaped were by chance not present at the time, like Sheikh Hasina. So it lasted. I wouldn't say, well, not even 3 years. Um, in Europe, this did not happen because the Marshall Plan. That's a topic that I've been speaking about a lot of times. It was a major transformation in history because the victorious nation, for the very first time in history, instead of getting there, to grab whatever there was to be grabbed, no, it really made an effort of development. It was absolutely fantastic. I remember some people saying, "Oh no, but because they wanted to sell, whatever they had in surplus." I mean, it's a bit nonsense, of course. This was actually a very important issue, but unfortunately, this beautiful America we had in 45 to 48 that actually prevented Western Europe from falling into a totalitarian domain did not happen in Bangladesh. I would say that quite the reverse happened in Bangladesh. We had Mr. Kissinger, that is still, a bit like Saintwood in the United States. I don't know what Bob thinks about him, but I do not think very well of him, I have to say, uh, because of Bangladesh and many other things. He came with this idea, this realpolitik idea. He actually wanted even to go further. Now, historically, we know that he tried to convince the Chinese to invade Bangladesh and to counter the liberation, even went to this point. And we had this doctrine that is supposed to be realist. I don't think it is realist at all, based in geopolitical readings that are I'm sorry, are ridiculous. Mr. Kissinger is lauded everywhere, but I'm sorry, I think this is ridiculous to say that, well, we had to keep, Pakistan intact for preventing the Soviet Union to reach the warm waters of the Indian. I mean, it would be laughable if it would have not been tragic. It was tragic. The things are not like that, are much more complex than this sort of chess that he imagined. And so he, with all this, all this diplomatic effort, he managed to be on the wrong side of history in Bangladesh, put the United States on the wrong side of history. And the drama, in my opinion, is that this has not been corrected since this time. Not in the United States, not in the Western Europe. And we saw, well, just today, I read, that both Democratic and Republican institutes were nurturing Jamaat-e-Islam in Bangladesh. I mean, there are several news and several reports that point to their involvement in the movement that led to the July coup in Bangladesh. Had popular support, not questioning this, but it was a coup. The military did not act and made the regime to fall. That's clear. And we see that the United States never made an apology for what they have been doing in 1970 as the state, the United States, and they came to do the same thing. I mean, Jamaat Islam, what have they done since July? I mean, they um, they have been demolishing every monument that speaks about Victory Day, that speaks about Mujibur Rahman, that speaks about the reality of the birth of this new country. And furthermore, they have been, in their repression attitude, they have been targeting those intellectuals that have been more involved in the history of the genocide and, well, Shariar Kabir, that is referred to in this presentation, is really a symbol. I mean, he is actually, perhaps, in my opinion, I mean, those I knew he is the best secular intellectual I ever met in South Asia. And most of his life, he passed it on his fight for the genocide to be remembered. And so he was one of the first targets, imprisoned. And the accusation, which was demolished by the United Nations Working Group on arbitrary detentions. I mean, the working group said that there was absolutely nothing serious. I mean, everything from the accusation, from the procedure. I mean, no facts. The Bangladeshi authorities answered with a television appearance in 2013 of Sharia Kabir with his opinion, on the political situation, and this was for them it was murder, and that's why he is being tried for murder. Okay, and genocide as well, for an international by an international crimes tribunal. Okay, well, it goes a bit beyond the imagination, but the truth is that these people just want to erase the reality of the Victory Day. That they are obsessed with it. They don't want it to be known. They see a statute, they demolish the statute. They see an intellectual that wrote and knows about it, they try to kill him immediately. That's why this is so important. And of course, that a civilization that is built on humanity like ours. I think this is the case. I am a big friend of the United States. I am a big partisan of transatlantic cooperation, and I would not put this, in terms of this small politics, Republicans and Democrats. Never mind, ones and the others. The issue is not there. The issue is we have, all of us that believe in humanity, all of us, we have to put the truth going. We have to clarify the reality, because if we do not do it, we are not only betraying our ancestors, we are betraying the future generations, because we are allowing the same procedures to occur again. This is the problem. And this is why the whole of this issue is so essential and why this initiative is so laudable. Thank you very much for the invitation. Let's continue.
Thank you very much, Paulo. It's very inspirational. And yes, I do agree with you that we'll be doing a great injustice and disservice if in today's day and time we do not raise our voice and we keep the spirit of the Bangladesh freedom alive. And that's precisely what we're trying to do throughout these webinars, because we cannot probably go to Bangladesh now, but eventually there will be a day. So till then, we will continue these series. So thank you very much, Paulo. I would now like to call upon our very good friend Bob, who is joining us from Rhode Island in the United States. So Bob, the floor is yours. But when we take the name of Mr. Henry Kissinger, I would also like to remember Jimmy Carter, because he was also a very great American politician, and I hope that you would probably weigh both sides of the scale and give a very an opinion as an American. How do you see the situation today in Bangladesh?
Well, good morning, and you can hear me, right? So thank you so much, and Paulo, so passionate. I really appreciated your comments, so insightful too. So for me, what I see today, I'm not necessarily a big fan of Mr. Kissinger, and I recently did a PowerPoint presentation on President Jimmy Carter as part of because my position right now is a hospice chaplain to veterans, and that's what I do full time. And so each month I do PowerPoint presentations, trivia questions, and things like that for veterans in hospice. But I recently did Jimmy Carter's recently at the Carter Library in Atlanta, visiting our granddaughter. And of course, he's got the Peace Center there and everything. He was a great man. The presidency was a little uneven, but post presidency, incredible man. Anyway, not necessarily a fan again of Mr. Kissinger, but to the point, I think what I was watching television last night and on PBS and public broadcasting, and they were talking about the current president and his international foreign policy. And I got to tell you, I am really disturbed right now, honestly disturbed. His focus, I don't understand what the focus is. Partnering up with Mr. Putin, who is a terrorist, a murderer, invades a country, and he's almost has him on an equal. And we were saying at one point, I think the president during his first term, President Trump was saying we were the only superpower left. But now it seems like he's equating Russia to be a co-equal superpower and China as well. And our focus is not in Asia right now. I thought during the first term he was going to have a real good partnership with India, and that did not happen. And now we see India kind of partnering up a little bit more with China, despite cross-border problems, certainly partnering up with Russia. And Pakistan, propping up Pakistan, I do not understand. And yes, this goes back to all when India was fighting Pakistan, and we sided with Pakistan. I don't understand what this is all about. I don't. And to this day, and I'm more disturbed now because our focus is away from Asia, and it needs to be in Asia. And look at what Pakistan is doing in Sindh and Balochistan, as well as Bangladesh. There's a piece of them in there too, and we are propping up this government. I don't get it. I really don't understand it. And I told you before that I might possibly be running for office again in 2026, possibly Congress, Senate, or House. This would be front and center to anything I would do as far as a platform. We have to understand, and Bangladesh became so prosperous and so much was going on, and we were talking about this, how proud we were of it. And then what's happened just a few months ago, incredible. And you've really kind of Paulo, you've really kind of really put it together well. And I know Chris couldn't be with us today, but he said something. He made a post, I think it was yesterday, and I want to just read this because I think it's important. He wrote, "No fundamentalist or communal force is in power in Bangladesh right now. Yet the government has taken no measures to stop mob violence or vigilantism. This is deeply tragic. It suggests that a powerful segment within the government sympathizes with them." And I think you've really put it well as what that power is. And international bodies, UN, whatever, needs to get involved because yes, not only are we destroying what happened in 71, but turning a nation that was democratic, and we talked about this in our last seminar we did, the need to become a secular based government and power, not religious based. And even in our country right now, I mean, the president is currently going after the Somalis in state of Minnesota, and these kind of things. The focus, I think, is so. And now down in Venezuela, I just don't understand our focus right now, and it's deeply disturbing to me. And we need to get involved in Asia. And I don't have any confidence the president is even acknowledging that. And again, supporting Pakistan in all of this. And again, what Pakistan's doing in other regions around it. It's deeply, deeply disturbing. And Pakistan's own economy right now, I understand that the inflation rate is double. I think it's something like 11%. It's some insane number. And so again, without us helping them financially and propping up their government, but that allows them to be interventionists in other places as well. And that is deeply disturbing. And a quote last night, I had to share this quote because, it could be seen as positive or negative, but I'm hoping it's positive. Let me just find this real quick here. So this is the quote here. It was attributed originally to Vladimir Lenin back in the day. He said, "We march forward, comrades, with unyielded determination and beat your way through all difficulties, even ever forward until you have garnered and gained the summit." And another way they rephrased this, kind of paraphrased it, was you push and go forward until you run into steel. STEEL. So the question is, what steel will we be running into? We'll be running into what we hope Bangladesh will be, or will the steel be this religious intolerance and we're seeing this in other parts of Afghanistan with the Taliban and all these others, which our exit there was just disgusting. And the people we left, the women and children, so many parts of the country. United States, yes, the Marshall Plan, we were a country that didn't want anything. But now it seems like we're into such self-interest that our more magnanimous, what we were, it doesn't exist anymore. And that disturbs me as well. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Wonderful, Bob. Thank you so much. And yes, we are actually literally marching into steel. So, and on that note, we would also like to convey our well wishes for your candidacy, whichever House or Senate you go for. Our well wishes for you. And if you are there, of course, I think we'll have a much bigger platform and voice. So, very quickly, last 1 minute final closing remarks before we wrap it up, because Chris is not here. So we aimed for 1 hour, but we have to finish it because he's not here. So, Paolo, just your final comments, please.
Yeah, well, my first final comment is very good wishes for your campaign in 2026, that you may succeed and that some light will come into wherever the House or the Senate. My deeply wishes. I agree with most of what you said. I think that the big issue is to understand why a big dominant nation needs to make good things all over the world for its own benefit. This is the issue. I mean, I think that Mr. Trump, with his Monroe, reviving Monroe, I mean, there's been a lot of things happening in the world since the Monroe Doctrine was first established. I mean,
right.
I think he's a bit. I mean, he thinks that in Venezuela he can go against Maduro, but he can forget about Iran because Maduro is in the hemisphere, and so the other doesn't get it.
Yep.
I mean,
Yep.
I think it's ridiculous.
You're right.
It's ridiculous.
Right.
That's not the way to do it. What he has done with India, it's appalling. I mean,
Totally agree. Totally agree.
appalling. I mean, he is after all this, even this strategy. Somebody puts it there. I mean, India is the crucial country, which is obvious. I mean, obvious from the American perspective. But the 50% duties on India, 15% on Pakistan. That's the reality.
Exactly.
I mean, it's insane, absolutely insane. But there are reasons for it. I mean, okay. I think that this issue of Bangladesh, the issue of Victory Day, the issue of Jamaat is, in my view, the most important, either in the United States or in Europe. The United Kingdom is perhaps the most serious case, I have to say. I have never seen such foolish, embedded, way of looking at things like I have seen in the United Kingdom. But okay. Anyway, hopefully we will celebrate Victory Day someday soon in different circumstances in a democratic, free Bangladesh with these wonderful people. We will recognize the truth. We will celebrate your victory in the House or in the Senate, and we will be facing and having a better world for our descendants. That's the most important thing. Thank you very much for the invitation.
Friend.
Thank you so much, Paulo. And yes, we also hope and pray for the same. And as I mentioned before, what happens is Bangladesh is not only local to Bangladesh or the neighborhood of Southeast Asia, it has global ramifications. And you have rightly identified United Kingdom, Europe, and North America. So, Bob, your final comments, please.
Yeah, we just did that book recently. And prior to that, you've done two other wonderful books, and we look to a concert in Madison Square Garden in New York, again with George Harrison and Ravi Shankar, raising money. There was that global interest and having something in Madison Square Garden, in the United States, focusing on that. That's what we need, something like that again. Maybe we need to do another concert. We need to raise a consciousness in the United States. So maybe we need to look to do something like that to, get people interested again. So hey, we got to talk about that. But I think I hope to, again, celebrate what happened in 71, but what's happening now, it's a dark day. And what is that force? I think Paulo has identified it, and we've got to push back. We've got to push back. And this government, United States government's got to get involved back in Asia. Yes, the Monroe Doctrine. Haven't heard that in a while. I don't know what is going on. The current president seems so spread on so many different things. It's just, I can't keep track. And it's just it's withering. It's tiring. I mean, it's makes my head spin. He's got to get more focused. I'm sorry, he's got to get more focused, and especially Bangladesh. Yes, I think it's really a center of that area there, and we've got to get in there and make a difference. However that happens. So thank you so much for having me today.
Thank you very much, Paulo and Bob. With this, we will come to a close of our webinar today. We wish everybody a very happy Bangladesh Victory Day on the 16th of December, and we will again reconvene in the new year, which is in January 2026. So happy New Year in advance. Thank you very much. Have a great day. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Yep.
Bye-bye.